All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. How could I forget it's Friday? That music means Jim George is in the room. Professor Gadget, the owner of American Cable Services and Media in Motion, two different companies doing two different functions, and he has brought a guest in today. Steve Parker is here. We're going to learn about generators, an important subject in this business, isn't it? Good morning, Jim, and good morning, Steve.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes.
Sorry, now I hear you.
Since you were off
Things
last week.
work when you turn the button on.
I understand. So Steve is here to talk about generators because not just your situation last week, but brought it back to mind where the mall was off and several. I think they said in the paper 8,000 people were affected by power.
Yeah.
And I don't think they ever found out what the real problem was, other than some substation mishap.
Yeah, and it was here. It was the Paddock Mall substation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. And they said they would announce it, but I don't really keep up with their news releases.
They probably got a fried squirrel somewhere.
You think? Could be something as simple as that, right?
All the squirrel is a bushy-haired rat. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rats around, so a lot of squirrels around. But anyway, Steve and I, we've known each other for a couple of years, but the bottom line is he does generators, and he does the smallest one for, like in your case, the tower.
Yeah.
You just need to keep it on. And the large ones were, like what you have outside, probably a 35 kW for 35,000, watt. And whole homes. And we've been talking to some of the homeowners about, do I need a generator? I mean, couldn't I just do this and do that? But when the power is off, the power is off.
Yeah.
And so all the generator is going to do, literally by my standards, and Steve can add up to it, is just keep the power on.
Yeah. What's the company name, Steve?
On-site power at 17th and Magnolia in Ocala.
Were you guys around in 2004 by chance? Did you live here at that time?
Since 1999.
Okay, so when that hurricane, those hurricanes happened in 2004, do you remember everybody said, okay, I'm getting a generator? Because many of us were out. I think I was out for 4 days, but I was lucky. 4 days was good. A lot of people were out for 2 weeks or more, right?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I guess we've had no big deals like that in a long time, so everybody's, I don't need a generator, right?
I think what happens is it cycles. And at the time, there was a phenomenon called El Nino. And then the next time it cycled around was Katrina up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I'm not sure storms are really the reason you get a generator. It's for stable electricity. Ocala is very stable, but Homosassa, Lecanto, some of the other areas they lose power regular.
Oh, is that right?
I think lightning. We lost utility yesterday during the rain at my work. So
We flickered. That's all that happened here.
yeah, that was a lightning hit. And last week the mall went down, and that was probably at a substation. So I don't think it's storms as a motivator, but a lot of people, it brings it to the front of their mind.
Right.
And a bunch of people did buy them at the time, but a bunch of people talked about it, and then another storm hasn't hit.
So I was telling you before we went on the air, I was comparing the one we have now to the one that we used to have when we were at the Cascades, which was, I guess it was the state of the art in its day, but it was rather old and big.
Yeah.
It was probably the size of a small car.
Yeah.
It really was. Did you ever see it, Jim?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, but you had to crank it. You had a key.
Right.
It had an ignition. You had to go out. You had to flip a big old switch in one of the rooms there at the Cascades, and it was diesel. So you had that big noisy.
Sure.
It was noisy. This
Yeah.
one is quiet. So and what Robin and I do, we do music. So when we're not here, sometimes we're playing music, and quite often like in the street. Because we're hired to do an outdoor party or something like that. It would be so nice to have a quiet generator.
I agree. And they have been concerned about bringing the noise levels down. And propane and natural gas are mostly residential, and they are a lot quieter.
Simply because of the way they function? Is that why?
A gas engine, if you notice in a truck, it's a lot louder if it's a diesel engine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And General Electric that we represent has done all kinds of acoustics to bring the noise down because they exercise every week, and you don't want the neighbors yelling at you. So they're relatively quiet. We could talk like this.
Yeah, we've done a couple functions at the airport, for example, where you're out on the airstrip or the tarmac,
Right,
whatever
right.
they call that area, and so everybody's got their own tent. And Joe does karaoke. He does a disc jockey thing. And we were borrowing somebody's, and it was so nice. I mean, we had electricity. It was
Yeah.
quiet. Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've done a lot with technology. What you were talking about, sound is one thing, but the utility on the older generators was unstable. It was mechanically controlled. And what happened was it fluctuated probably 10%. And nowadays, computers, televisions, they don't like that.
Oh, that wouldn't be good. Yeah.
So now they're electronically controlled, and they're plus or minus 0.25%. So they're more stable than the electric company, which has the ability to fluctuate.
Wow. So you've been doing it a long time. Has technology changed the generator in other ways?
Yeah.
Like, are they smart? Everything is smart these days. Are they smart now?
They're computer controlled, plus the EPA was concerned about the exhaust just like in cars. So you had to meet different levels of exhaust. There's been dramatic changes. When the engines went electronic to clean up the exhaust, back in the day, we were going, how's this going to work with voltage output? You have all this DC stuff and AC, and now they're all electronic
Really?
because of the exhaust. And that gives real good control of the utility to the home or business.
So I know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking two different types of consumers for a generator. One, the person who has medical needs. I mean, their electricity has to work. Otherwise, their oxygen might go off or whatever else they're using
Right.
on a regular basis, right? And then the other person just wants to watch TV if the lights go out. You know, that's kind of me. That would be me. Or maybe there's a third person, the guy camping. You know, because that used to be something I did when I had a life.
Well, the major concern here in Florida is AC. And the air conditioning is a heavy hit in the home. And a lot of times when you're sizing the generator, the transfer switch, which makes it automatic so you don't have to go out and start it up, that matches the incoming electricity from the street. But the generator should match your house. What do you need? So what happens is General Electric has load management modules. You can shrink the size of the generator down and then control your loads with these modules. And everybody makes priority number one the air conditioner.
Yeah, that is true. And
So-
I remember with the old one at the old studio. Now Joe said this one won't work our air conditioner either. This one does not work our air conditioner, and the other one didn't either. But the other one didn't. We couldn't even use the computers. All it did was basically keep us on the air and keep the lights on. That was it.
Yeah. That's what happened in supermarkets. They used to do the register and the exit lighting. And
Oh, really?
Now they want to do refrigeration and all the registers and the
Oh, wow.
computers and the lighting.
They just want to stay open. In other words.
Times are changing, yeah. The
Yeah,
machines are more
Now, have you seen the
important.
size of those ones, like behind Publix? Drive behind Publix one day and look at their generator.
Are they huge?
It's like a small bus. I don't mean like a minivan. I mean a bus.
Yeah, really. Oh,
They're
wow.
huge.
Publix did a whole lot. Winn-Dixie did a whole lot. But I was just using that as an example. In a home, you may want to drop the pool pump. But the air conditioning is very important.
Right,
to you.
yeah, right.
So if you don't care about the dryer, because you're worried about your 240 volt loads. The 110 stuff, you can have a very small generator and you're fine. But if you start talking about your oven, your dryer, your air conditioner, your well pump, which is very important,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
pool pumps, all of a sudden the machine's getting bigger. And if you can manage those loads, it gives you the opportunity to keep the price down.
Okay, I want to learn more. If you have a question, by the way, for either Jim or Steve, and I do have one thing for you, Jim, about the Super Bowl streaming.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that. But we'll be right back. If you have a question, you're welcome to call. The number is 622-9622. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Partly to mostly sunny today, breezy and cooler. A high of 56 to 61. Some clouds tonight, a low of 40 to 54. Then clouds and sun with rain arriving late in the afternoon tomorrow. The high 61 to 69. Breezy and cooler with clouds and sunshine for Sunday. The high 57 to 60. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Maggie Johnson.
The Women's Veterans Health Fair will be happening on Saturday, February 20th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Ocala VA Clinic at the Cascades Office Complex at 1515 East Silver Springs Boulevard right here in Ocala. The Women's Veterans Health Fair. Don't miss it. If you'd like more information, give a call to 352-369-3320. That's 369-3320 for the Women's Veterans Health Fair at the Ocala VA Clinic in the Cascades, February 20th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
For some, Valentine's Day means flowers and candy. Not for us.
Join us for the Valentine's Day Massacre, February 13th at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion.
For 7 scheduled bouts of live professional boxing entertainment. Each bout is highlighted with local boxers.
So come out and support the future boxing in Ocala. First bout starts at 7 and doors open at 6.
Proceeds to benefit the Boys and Girls Club. Tickets start at only $15.
Get your tickets at Central Florida Boxing, 1032 Southwest 1st Avenue, or call 352-292-2103.
On the next Voice of Ocala, we are live from the Coates Golf Championship presented by Arnell Carriers. We're there thanks to our good friends at Golden Ocala Golf and Equestrian Club, and of course our friends at Tri-Eagle Sales, your local distributor of Mick Ultra, the official beverage of the Coates Golf Championship. Coach Steve Spurrier slated to join us along with Coach John Brantley of the Bellevue Rattlers, and we'll have updates from the course live at the Coates Golf Championship on the next Voice of Ocala right here on WOCA The Source.
Saturday, February 13th is set aside for Kid Genius, an event that you must be 21 and older to attend. Love to gamble? That's what we're doing because Kid Genius helps the many families with kids of special needs. www.kidgeniusincorporated.org is where all the information you need is found, and Comic-Con-style costumes are the choice of the evening from 7 to 11 p.m. CrossFit Iron League in downtown Ocala is the location for all this madness and fun. Help Kid Genius help others. www.kidgeniusincorporated.org.
If you want to get Kid Genius, I'll be there.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Research tells us that exercise makes us smarter and more productive. However, different workouts give us different benefits. How much somebody earns is not indicative of whether they're a cheapskate or a spendthrift, because somebody who's broke could still have a shopping addiction. It happens all the time. But it turns out the happiest couples focus on just 2 words: thank you.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
All right, 18 minutes after 9. John Tesh uses reverb. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I wonder if is that something he's doing new? I don't know. We should add reverb to our.
Oh, yeah.
It's like old time radio, right?
Well, you can just go echo.
Oh, echo. That would drive people nuts. All right, Steve Parker has joined Jim George, and we're learning about generators. It's an important topic, and as you mentioned, it's important for us with air conditioners. I'm guessing any place it would be important if you're up north right now where it's starting to snow. By the way, I don't know how many people depend on their electricity for the heat, but certainly for their thermostat.
Up north was very regulated as far as bigger generators for industrial and commercial. When Sandy hit, the residential market went crazy. And like I said, we haven't had a storm in 10 years. And
they were out. And when Sandy hit, they were out for a couple of weeks, weren't they?
It depends on where you are, but yeah, they just got hit again. D.C. got the worst. They got 30 inches. But in the Northeast, it's in the front of people's minds to get a generator.
Yeah. All right, let's take a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for calling.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. Back in 04 or 05, when we had the hurricanes here, we lost power for a little while. It wasn't too bad. But anyways, a neighbor of ours went out and bought a generator about just after that time, and he was told if you're not going to use it a lot, to run it at least once a month for a little while to keep it up to par or something. Is that true? And are the newer generators do they need to be taken care of like that?
The newer generators have an exerciser clock in the controls, and they start themselves up once a week and run to operating temperature. What I usually do is encourage the customer to transfer it occasionally, just because the transfer switch is a different box, and that needs to be exercised occasionally so it doesn't get stuck. But yes, you need to maintain them. I don't know if your neighbor got gasoline, but gasoline especially needs to be maintained. They're portable, manual. What we do is natural gas, propane, or diesel, because gasoline turns to varnish.
Oh,
His is gas, and what is the reason that he has to run it out at least once a month? For what reason?
The main reason is because the gasoline turns to varnish and the carburetor gets all coated, and then when you want to run it, it won't start. So if you exercise that regular or run it out of gas until the next time you need it, but that's completely manual. That makes you do work when you lose electricity. So what we're trying to do is give people an automatic system.
Okay. Thank you for calling. The phone line is open. I saw a couple other calls trying to get through. The line is open if you want to do that. 622-9622. We have a call coming in. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Yes, this is for Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you carry used generators for a building like a house and a barn?
Yes, sir. We have pre-owned equipment from residential size up to industrial and commercial. And what's good about the U.S. is the utility is very stable. So a lot of times a customer upsizes their home, needs a bigger generator, the one coming out is still perfectly fine. So there's a whole industry of pre-owned equipment for agriculture, residential, industrial, commercial. That's a good question. Pre-owned can save the customer a lot of money.
Good. And where are you located, if I could come to your office?
We're at 17th and Magnolia. Coming off the square, if you drove north on Magnolia, we're right at the intersection of 17th and Magnolia. There's equipment in the shop if you wanted to take a look.
All right.
There you go. Thank you. Those are the kind of questions we like to have. Let's go to another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, what I'm calling about is your station 96.3.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get that anymore since you had that lightning strike. It's all.
Yeah,
not on the air.
They're working on it. No, it's still there. It's just they're working on it. If you go to the AM, you'll be able to hear it a lot better.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. But the AM, another thing I noticed at night, it's like it used to be, real staticky and everything.
Okay, I'll make a note of that and I'll pass that on because I don't know the technical part. I have no idea how the radio works. I just have a microphone.
I understand that too. I don't know either, but it's not. I know it's not my radio.
No, it's not. I know that we have problems with it, so thank you for letting us know, Ann.
Okay. Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
See that? If when it works, you're still. We don't. The generator won't fix that. But you know what? What happened back in the hurricane of 2004? We were one of the only stations on the air. And the reason for that was because we had the generator, which was a lifesaver. But there was also kind of a little anomaly, I guess you would say, whereas where the tower is, even though we did not have a generator, for some reason, power stayed on over there.
That's great.
So our tower had electricity because, for whatever reason, it stayed on. And we had electricity because of the generator, which gave us, we are an emergency station. So people tuned to us for that information, which was really good. She was talking about staying on overnight. We kept the power at full power overnight so that we could reach as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit of information because it kind of underscores, at least in our business, the importance of a generator. But as Jim was saying, probably there's no business that wouldn't benefit from a generator, right?
Yeah, even a cash business, have you ever been into a place and their computer system is down or whatever and you want to check out? Some of these clerks can't even do change.
I know.
Yeah. It's $9.17, and you give them a $20 bill, and it's like a deer in the headlights. They look at you like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do now?"
Yeah, right.
Hello, manager. Register 3, please. So, because everything is so automatic. But not just that. For your home, I noticed the one thing Steve and I were talking about before we came on the air is he can go out to your house and size it for you. So let's assume you're thinking you need this big 35,000 kW, kilowatt generator, and he comes out and says, no, for what your needs are, you could get away with a 20. And with a few of the modules I have, which will load balance, that's all you would need. And then he could price you a 20. So just to go down to a home improvement center like Home Depot or Lowe's and buy a generator because it's on sale doesn't get you anywhere. The installation has to be done just right. And that automatic transfer switch, that's a godsend. It comes on automatically. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to go out there in the middle of a storm and try and crank up a generator.
So what you're saying then is the do-it-yourselfer really might be doing more harm than good. You buy one on Amazon or something like that, and you hook it up yourself, and you think you're all set to go. Next thing you know, you burned out your refrigerator.
Yeah. Well, you can get an electrician, qualified person to put it in, but he's qualified to hook up the electrical part. He doesn't know how to size it or maybe even do some other tricks that Steve would know. I was just telling Steve I had a good friend of mine in West Palm Beach who's now passed away, but he would constantly tell me he would go into a place like Sears or Publix and they would have a generator and they would be complaining. He'd say, well, who put this in for? And they'd say, and he said, well, he hooked it up according to the manual, put this here, put that there.
Oh, wow.
But he didn't calibrate it right. He didn't load balance it. And especially if it's a three-phase for a large, institution, you don't want more power off of one phase than you do the other phase.
Right.
And he would always tell me these horror stories. So all I'm saying is, even if you bought from somebody else, at least have someone like Steve look at your house and determine what you need.
So I have a question. Maybe this is the smallest one that exists, but there's a company in town, and they make these trailers for campers, basically, and they're tiny little things. Basically, it's just to sleep in. You couldn't stand in the thing. Kind of like a tent, but made out of wood.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't know if you've heard of them. I can't remember the name.
I think I've seen it.
Runaways or Getaways or something like that. But anyway, they have a little rack in the front, and it's a cool idea, really, especially for guys. Ladies will probably hate it, but it's a solar-powered generator. Now, are they unusual? It sounds like it would be very minimum, like it would just be enough to run your radio or something. I don't know.
That's true. There's a couple of things that it can do well. The first thing you need is the sun. So at night
doesn't it store like in a battery or something like that?
You have the ability to store in a battery, which discharges quick. They're looking at technology for capacitors to store more energy than that. But a lot of times, a generator that's portable will have a solar panel to charge the battery back, but it's not enough to really power a load.
Oh, okay.
It takes an awful lot of panels to make a little bit of power.
Okay. So that's kind of almost just a novelty. You would get that maybe for.
I think it could enhance it, and while it is charging, there's a possibility that you're saving a little bit of money, but you can't depend on it. If it was hooked to the camper and it was nighttime, you're not going to have...
You're going to be done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cloudy, rainy.
So the average... Can we talk cost? How much is the one that would run a little, I don't know, an average size home? 2-bedroom home.
An average size home that has a 200 amp panel in the garage, and it has 2,000 square foot.
Okay.
Is probably 20 kW or less. And I'll give you an example of General Electric. A 20 kW is $46.95. So $46.95 gives you peace of mind with El Nino coming in the summer. Now, on top
That's
of
the dollar amount, $4,695?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
And it's an automatic system, and you have the ability to lose electricity. It senses that, asks the engine to start, and then it's making voltage, and it powers your house.
And do you guys come out and maintain it like on a monthly basis or something?
That's very important, and I'm not sure everybody's aware of that, but it's important to be able to maintain the equipment 100 hours or once a year. You want to change the oil and filter. But there's a lot of systems. There's a lot of stuff going on in the generator. So if you have 1 or 2 visits a year, you can maintain the equipment. Relatively inexpensive.
Man, it went quick, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Wow. That wasn't even your music. All right.
There it is. Here it goes.
Well, Steve, that was very fascinating information. For those who missed it, we did record that. And
give me your number, Steve.
Our number at work is 671-1090.
Okay, excellent. Jim, you took a back seat today.
Yes, sir. Well, it's good. We talk about generators. Now we got the horse's mouth.
Yes, share this one with everybody you know, because I remember 2004 like it was yesterday. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Good stuff. We'll be right back.
It was a pleasure.
1,000 jobs last month, less than expected. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.9% from 5% in December, to the lowest level